It begins in the way all great and terrible things do in silence. The void is a cold black velvet canvas punctuated by the diamond-sharp light of distant, uncaring stars. It is the false peace of an ocean's surface, moments before the Leviathan breaks it. We see this canvas beautiful and serene. And then we see the shadow. It is not the clean-edged shadow of a man-made vessel. It is a smear, a stain, a living darkness that moves between the stars. It does not reflect light. It consumes it. Constellations are blotted out one by one, not by an eclipse, but by a presence. This is a Hive fleet. It is not an armada. It is not an army. It is a single galaxy-spanning organism, a tide of living ships that dwarfs planets, its tendrils and spines, stretching for thousands of kilometers, a biological nightmare sailing the solar winds. What drives this entity? There is no captain on a bridge, no warlord screaming for conquest. There is only a single unified astronomical will. We have given it a name in our terror, the Hive Mind. Do not mistake this for a god. A god desires worship, or perhaps love or fear. The Hive Mind desires none of these. It is not a singular being, not a king upon a throne. It is a consciousness diffused across a trillion bodies. It is the collective screaming instinct of every chittering hunter, every void-dwelling behemoth, every burrowing maggot, all linked by a single overriding purpose. It is an instinct made manifest a hunger, given a form that can shatter worlds. And you must understand the nature of this hunger. It does not hate the worlds in its path. Hate is a complex individual emotion born of jealousy or fear or a desire for vengeance. The Hive Mind is simple. It does not feel anger toward the civilizations it dismantles. Anger is a reaction to a perceived threat. This entity is the threat. It does not negotiate. It does not bargain. It does not seek glory or power or territory for its own sake. It is quite simply hungry. In the grim, agonizing darkness of this galaxy, humanity is beset by horrors on all sides. The arch-enemy, the forces of chaos, seeks to corrupt your soul. It will tempt you, twist your faith, and turn your very essence into a bloody spectacle for laughing, thirsty gods. Your soul is their prize. The Xenos the alien seeks to dominate, the Orc to fight, the Eldari to scheme. They may seek to enslave you, to conquer your worlds, to outwit you. They are enemies you can perhaps understand. They operate on a level of strategy, of territory, of resources. The Tyranid is different. It is utterly terrifyingly different. The Tyranid does not want your soul. It has no use for it. It does not want your territory only to strip it bare. It does not want your faith. It does not want your worship. It wants your mass. It is the ultimate cosmic pragmatist. It arrives and it erases. It reduces the grandest cathedral of the God Emperor, the most profound work of art, the most fortified bastion, and the most loving family, into the exact same grey nutrient slurry. Every achievement humanity has ever carved from the rock of this hostile universe, every memory you hold dear, every desperate hope you harbor for your children's future, is just biomass. It is fuel. It is raw material to be broken down, analyzed, and repurposed, all to create more of itself. When the Imperium of man faces the Hive fleet, they are not fighting for victory. They are fighting against extinction. Not the simple extinction of a species, but the extinction of meaning itself. We are taught to fear death. We are taught to fear damnation. But the Tyranid offers something far, far worse: absolute oblivion, complete and total assimilation. The end of the very concept of you. But what does that truly mean? What is it like? What is the process of being consumed, of having your identity, your history, your very consciousness stripped away atom by atom, neuron by neuron? We will follow this question. We will not find the answer in a single hero or a single battle. We will find it in the fragmented, terrified echoes of the lost. We will find it in the final, silent scream of a soldier as he is devoured alive. We will find it in the psychic shriek of a mind shattered by a will greater than any god. We will find it in the confused, agonizing realization of a civilian who realizes their long-awaited savior is in fact their executioner. We will journey into the belly of the beast. We will listen to the echoes of the consumed. On the agri-world of Viridia Prime, the sky is a vast, open blue. It is a quiet world, a jewel of cultivated plains dedicated to feeding the insatiable hunger of the Imperium. Its people are devout, simple, and shielded from the galaxy's true horrors by sheer blissful ignorance. In the capital's central spire, the astropathic choir maintains the world's only link to the greater void. We focus on one man, Astropath Elion. He is ancient, his body frail, his eyes long since withered and sealed by the holy rites of the Adeptus Astra Telepathica. He sits in the copper-lined sanctum, his mind poised to cast a message across the stars. It is a simple, routine message, a tithe report. Grain quotas met, population stable, all is well. For the Emperor, he opens his mind, not his eyes, and seeks the current. He reaches for the psychic river of the Imperium, the roiling, chaotic sea of the warp. He expects to feel its familiar, dangerous tides, to hear the distant, maddening whispers he has been trained his entire life to ignore. He expects to find the guiding light of the Astronomicon, the golden beacon of the Emperor's will, shining across that terrible ocean. He finds nothing. Astropath Elion. His voice is not spoken, but a psychic whisper, resonating with confusion and rising panic in the minds of his fellow choir members. Nothing. It is gone. The flow of the warp is not merely disturbed. It has not just become turbulent as it does during a warp storm. It has died. The current he has navigated for a century has vanished, as if a trillion-ton weight has been dropped into the river, suffocating its flow, stilling its every ripple. The familiar, chaotic noise of the Imperium is gone. It is replaced by a silence, but it is not an empty silence. It is a heavy silence, a solid, pressing, suffocating silence. It is the stillness of a predator's lungs held just before the pounce. It is the absolute zero of psychic space, a void so profound it leeches all thought, all warmth, all sanity. Elion feels it pressing against the fragile walls of his mind, a pressure unlike anything he has ever known. It is the combined, focused, unconscious will of billions upon billions of minds, all thinking the same thought, all part of the same entity. It is the sound of a billion organisms screaming in perfect, silent unison. Astropath Elion. His psychic voice is a raw shriek. It's a wall. A shadow. Oh, Emperor, it's listening. No, it's not listening. It's just here. His fellow astropaths in the choir chamber begin to shudder. They feel it too. The shadow in the warp has arrived. It is a psychic blanket, a blindfold, and a gag thrown over the entire system, cutting it off from the light of the Astronomicon, severing its connection to Terra, isolating it completely. No messages can get out, no warnings can be sent. For Elion, the man closest to the void, it is far worse. The pressure builds. It is the psychic equivalent of being at the bottom of a crushing ocean trench. The silence is a hammer. He tries to scream, but the pressure snuffs the sound from his mind before it can form. He can feel his own thoughts beginning to crack, to splinter, under the sheer monolithic weight of the Hive mind's presence. It is not an attack. It is merely a consequence of the beast's proximity. The planet is now in the shadow of the Leviathan, and the psychic gravity of its existence is enough to shatter lesser minds. Astropath Elion, a final broken psychic fragment, a single image broadcast to his fellows. The eye, a billion teeth. It hungers. The pressure becomes unbearable. It is too much for a mortal mind to withstand. The sanctum lights flicker and burst. We see Elion, his frail body thrown back against his throne. Blood thick and dark erupts from under the waxed seals covering his eye sockets. It pours from his nose, his ears. A single final agonizing tremor overtakes him, and then he is still. His mind, the mind that could see across galaxies, has been crushed. not by malice but by sheer unthinking presence. He is the first to die. He is the first mind to be extinguished by the shadow. In the choir chamber, the other astropaths begin to scream in their own physical voices. The psychic link to their master is now a howling void, an open wound. Far above Viridia Prime, in the cold, silent dark, the first tendrils of the Hive fleet have arrived. The planet is blind. It is deaf. It is alone. And the silence has just begun. The psychic death of the astropathic choir was a silent explosion. Its repercussions did not travel as sound, but as a shockwave of pure, undiluted terror. For the vast majority of Viridia Prime's population, the billions of ungifted, psychically deaf citizens, the shadow in the warp does not manifest as a presence. It manifests as an absence of hope, an absence of sanity. We move to Hab Block Gamma Thule, a towering, densely packed hive of human life. It is the middle of the planet's night cycle, and in 10,000 cramped apartments, nearly every single resident is experiencing the exact same dream. We see flashes of it. A woman Jorah sits bolt upright in her bed, gasping, her sheets soaked in sweat. She clutches her throat. In the bunk bed across the room, her 2 children are already awake, whimpering, their eyes wide with the same shared terror. Jorah gasping, whispering to herself, "The eye. The great eye. It was looking at me. Right at me." In the next apartment, a factorum worker, grizzled and tough, is on his knees, vomiting. Worker coughing, spitting teeth. Emperor's mercy, so many teeth. A mouth as wide as the sky. I was falling. We were all falling into it. It is a collective nightmare, a psychic echo of the hive mind's base nature imprinted onto the subconscious of every sleeping human. It is the primal ancestral fear of being hunted, of being eaten, magnified a billionfold and broadcast directly into their minds. It is the fear a mouse feels for the hawk, amplified to a cosmic scale. This shared terror spills out of the hab blocks and onto the streets. The night is no longer calm. It is filled with screams. First a few scattered cries, then dozens, then thousands. People pour from their homes clad only in their night clothes, their faces pale masks of hysteria. They babble, they point at the sky, they weep uncontrollably. Civilian 1 shrieking at the sky, "It's here. The Star Eater, the Devourer. We're all going to die." Civilian 2 grabbing a PDF officer by his tunic. "It's in my head. Get it out of my head. Make it stop watching me." The local Planetary Defense Force, the PDF, are mobilized. They are little more than scared men and women themselves, armed with flak armor and laser guns trained for riots, not for a metaphysical assault on their sanity. The shadow presses down on them too. It manifests as a cold, paralyzing dread, a certainty of their own insignificant doom. A PDF trooper, young, his hands shaking so badly he can barely hold his rifle, tries to form a line with his squad. PDF trooper, voice cracking. Hold the line! For the Emperor." But his words are hollow. The crowd doesn't charge them. It implodes. Fights break out. People turn on each other, driven mad by a terror they cannot name or see. A mother convinced her child is one of them. One of the nightmares begins to beat him in the street. A man believing the end has come simply walks into the path of a cargo transport. Despair becomes a contagion. Sanity fractures. At the world's Governum Citadel, Planetary Governor Hesk is a man of iron will. He is a hard man, a veteran of political and economic wars, a believer in order. He sees the reports of mass hysteria, of societal breakdown, and he is furious. He strides to the central broadcasting suite, determined to crush this panic with the boot heel of Imperial authority. The all-world Vox signal goes live. His stern, weathered face appears on every picked screen, in every hab block, in every public square. Governor Hesk. His voice booms, full of manufactured confidence. "Citizens of Viridia, this mass delusion ends now. This is weakness. The Emperor demands discipline. He stops. Mid-sentence. His eyes, which had been scanning the auto-prompt, suddenly fix on something in the empty air of the broadcast studio. His face goes slack. The iron will that defined him evaporates in an instant. He sees what the astropath saw. He feels the full, undivided attention of the shadow, a cold, vast intellect, focusing on this single, defiant voice. Governor Hesk, a choked whisper. "Oh, no. It's endless. It's all just meat. We are..." His expression doesn't just change, it breaks. The man is gone, replaced by a vessel of pure animal terror. His mouth opens in a silent scream. And then, with a horrifyingly calm, deliberate motion, Governor Hesk leans forward. He slams his forehead against the solid iron lectern. Once. A sickening crack and a spray of blood. Twice. A third time. He continues again and again and again, his movements rhythmic, purposeful, mechanical. The millions of citizens watching on their screens see their leader, their symbol of order, methodically pulp his own face against his symbol of authority. He does not stop until he is a lifeless, broken heap on the floor of the studio. The broadcast cuts to static, but the message has been delivered. There is no authority. There is no order. The planet's mind has been broken. The fear is no longer a riot. It is a terminal condition. The planet's madness is a smokescreen. The psychic scream of a dying world masks a far older, more insidious threat. While the surface population descends into hysterical chaos, a different kind of signal is received in the dark, forgotten places, beneath their feet. Deep within the planet's oldest, most lightless mine shafts in caverns carved millennia ago, a hidden congregation stirs. They are the cult of the Starborn, the secret infection that has festered in Viridia's underbelly for 5 generations. They are the hybrids, the Xenos-tainted, the Genestealer cult. For them, the shadow in the warp is not a terror. It is a song. It is the fulfillment of a prophecy, the glorious, soul-shaking hymn of their long-awaited star saviors. While the governor pulped his own head and the astropaths bled from their eyes, the cultists wept tears of ecstatic joy. Their god is coming. We see Amegas, a 3rd-generation hybrid with a bulbous alien skull beneath his priestly robes, standing before his flock. His psychic sensitivity is a beacon, and he is drunk on the Hive mind's presence. Magus, his voice is a sibilant, passionate hiss. Rejoice, children of the void. The heavens bleed. The silence you feel is the deep breath of the patriarch taken before he devours the unjust. The nightmares of the overworlders are our dreams made manifest. The day of our ascension is here. The cultists, a grotesque mix of miners with too many limbs and hooded figures with unsettlingly sharp teeth, roar in approval. This is not an invasion. This is a holy crusade. They rise from their hidden lairs not as a mob, but as a disciplined, fanatical army. Their targets are precise power generators, communication arrays, PDF armories. The sabotage begins. The planet's ability to fight back is being crippled from within, even as the enemy approaches from without. While the cultists attack the infrastructure, the PDF scrambles to respond to a dozen threats at once. We follow a small reconnaissance squad led by a hardened sergeant named Grek. They've been sent to investigate Vox silence at Observation Post Epsilon, a remote station high in the desolate mountains. The squad finds the post. There is no sign of a battle, no gunfire, no alarms, just silence. And the thick, coppery smell of blood. PDF trooper, his voice hushes over the Vox sergeant. Emperor's bones, look at this. The control room is a slaughterhouse. The crew is dead, but not by bullets or blades. They have been shredded. Their bodies are ripped apart with surgical biological precision, as if by giant razor-sharp talons. Flak armor is torn open like paper. One man is pinned to the ceiling, his torso completely hollowed out. Sergeant Grek, raising his laser scanning the shadows. Xenos, it's Xenos. Watch your fire lanes. Check the... A faint click. Grek looks up. A drop of saliva, viscous and thick, lands on his helmet's visor. He slowly tilts his head back. Clinging to the ceiling, perfectly camouflaged against the pipes and shadows, is a lictor. It is a creature of pure, evolving terror. a 9-foot-tall mantis-like hunter with scything talons and feeder tendrils already tasting the air. Its skin is not just hidden, it is changing, matching the exact color and texture of the metalwork around it. It has been watching them, silently, analyzing them. Sergeant Grek, a single word, devourer. The lictor drops. The last thing the squad's voxcaster transmits is a burst of static screams and the wet tearing sound of chitin meeting flesh. The lictor does not just kill, it learns. It tastes Grek's memories from his brain tissue. It analyzes his squad's tactics, their armor's weaknesses, their fear. And it transmits this data, this vital reconnaissance, straight into the synaptic web. The hive mind now knows how the local soldiers fight. It is already adapting before the first real battle has even begun. The final act of the infiltration belongs to the cult. Their sabotage has been a stunning success. The capital city's primary defense grid is down. The main gates, the massive plasteel barriers designed to withstand a siege, are now under their control. The Magus stands before the gate, controls his eyes fixed on the sky, which is beginning to show the first burning trails of re-entry. Magus in ecstatic prayer, our gods arrive, the star children descend. Open the gates, open our arms, welcome our saviors. The great gates grind open. The cultists 1,000 strong pour into the streets not to fight, but to worship. They see the first saviors approaching tall, four-armed figures, creatures of perfect alien grace and lethality. Pure strain genestealers, the original angels of their faith. The cultists drop to their knees, their arms wide, chanting welcomes. They look up expecting, what a blessing, an embrace, a welcome into a divine new age. A pure strain genestealer leaps onto the nearest kneeling cultist. It does not embrace him. It plunges its talons into his chest and rips him in half. The Magus watches his face, a mask of sudden soul-shattering confusion. Magus, a choked whisper, "Brother, why, we are your children. We served." The other genestealers descend on the kneeling, confused flock. The slaughter is immediate. The cultists' realization comes far too late. They were never the faithful. They were never the chosen. They were just the key. They were the lockpick designed to open the door. And now that the door is open, the lockpick is discarded. They are not part of the hive mind. They are just biomass prepared and delivered by their own fanaticism. Their dying screams are the first to be added to the nutrient pools, a bitter appetizer for the main course to come. The betrayal of the cultists is a mere footnote, an opening act. As their blood stains the city streets, the true invasion begins. The sky, which had been a canvas for psychic dread, now becomes a theater of physical annihilation. We look up. The population, already driven mad by fear, gazes at the heavens, seeking a sign, perhaps an imperial fleet, a sign of hope. They see only death. Gigantic living ships eclipse the sun. They are not made of steel and plasteel. They are bulbous, asymmetric horrors of flesh, carapace, and sinew. Void-dwelling behemoths miles long, propelled by rippling fins and expelling biological gases. They are monsters that dwarf mountains. They move into low orbit, a ceiling of pulsating, grotesque life covering the entire planet. And they do not fire lasers. They do not launch torpedoes. There is no clean technological warfare here. The bellies of these great beasts rupture, open. Millions of fleshy chitin-shelled pods are torn from their bodies and ejected downwards, screaming through the atmosphere. It is not an orbital bombardment, it is an insemination. The sky fills with streaks of fire, 1,000,000 falling stars, each one a biological drop pod, a womb of war. They are mycetic spores. They strike the ground not with the clang of metal, but with a wet, sickening thud. They are meteors of meat. They crash through the roofs of hab blocks, shatter plazas, and bury themselves deep in the agri-fields. For a moment there is silence after the impacts. Then they burst. Like obscene eggs, their fleshy outer layers split open, spraying amniotic slime and vapor. And from the steaming, wet interiors, the swarm emerges. It is a tide, a living, chittering, screaming river of claws, teeth, and chitin. Thousands, tens of thousands, millions from every pod. Hormagaunts bounding forward on powerful hind legs, their front limbs evolved into living scythes, their snake-like heads lunging. Termagants, a skittering carpet of smaller beasts, their weapons symbiotic creatures fused to their limbs, spitting living flesh-eating beetles or spines of crystal. They pour from the craters a wave of incandescent hunger. They have no concept of self-preservation. They do not seek cover. They do not form strategies. They are simply a weapon pointed and fired. And as this living tide floods the world, something new happens. The shadow in the warp, the great silent pressure finally finds its voice. For the first time, every living human on Viridia Prime hears the hive mind speak. It is not a sound. It is a psychic command, a primal roar that detonates inside every skull simultaneously. It is the collective will of 1 trillion creatures focused into a single, overwhelming broadcast. It is a sound so loud it shatters sanity. It is a psychic carrier wave of pure, unfiltered instinct. It is not a complicated message. It does not gloat. It does not threaten. It is a simple 3-part imperative repeated ad infinitum, a deafening billion-voiced chorus that drowns all other thought. The hive mind, a psychic roar, felt not heard. Kill, consume, adapt, kill, consume, adapt, kill, consume, adapt. PDF soldiers drop their laser guns, clutching their temples, blood pouring from their noses as their brains are overloaded. Civilians fall to their knees, their minds simply erased by the psychic volume, leaving them as drooling, shivering animals. The planet's organized resistance, already fractured by madness and sabotage, dissolves. The swarm, energized by this command, hits the city limits. The first screams of the harvest begin. The planet of Viridia Prime, isolated, its mind broken, its defenders scattered, is now no longer a world. It is a feeding trough. The harvest has begun. The scream site from the cities is a symphony of terror. And in this symphony of slaughter, the most common note is the death of a soldier. We find Guardsman Kyle. He is not a hero. He is not a legend. He is a farmer issued a flak jacket, a laser gun, and a copy of the Imperial Infantryman's uplifting primer. His platoon Viridian 9th PDF is making a stand in a shallow trench at the edge of a burning agri-field. The psychic roar of the hive mind, kill, consume, adapt, is a physical spike being driven into his brain. The shadow in the warp is a blanket of pure, liquid despair. Every instinct in his body tells him to drop his weapon, curl up, and wait for death. He is paralyzed by it. But Imperial training is a brutal catechism drilled into his very bones. His sergeant, a man whose face is already a mask of bloody tears from the psychic pressure, roars the liturgy. Sergeant shouting over the din, "Fire, fire, and die, you dogs, but fire for the Emperor." Kyle's hands, slick with sweat, grip his laser gun. He raises it. The training overtakes the terror. He pulls the trigger. The coherent red beam of his laser gun snaps out. It is an act of defiance. It is an act of futility. The swarm is not an army. It is an ocean. It is a single undulating mass of chitin and teeth pouring across the plains. Kale fires. He hits a Hormagaunt. The creature explodes in a shower of ichor. Another takes its place instantly. He fires again and again. The air is thick with the smell of ozone and alien blood. Kale screaming, seemingly to himself more than anyone, "Reloading, Emperor! Protect! Reloading!" Next to him, Guardsman Lorne screams as a jet of acidic spray from a termagant melts his visor and then his face. They kill hundreds. Their trench is piled high with alien corpses, but the wave doesn't slow. It doesn't falter. It simply flows over its own dead. The sergeant is dragged over the barricade, his yell cut short by a wet crack. The line breaks. Kale panicked. No. No. Fall back. Fall. He never finishes the word. A Hormagaunt leaping from a mound of its own kin is on him. It is a blur of bone-white carapace and black talons. Kale tries to bring his rifle up, but it is too fast. He feels not pain, but a cold impact, a piercing. He looks down. A scythe-like talon, long and serrated, is buried to the hilt in his chest. It has punched through the flak plate, through his ribs, through his lung. He doesn't feel the pain yet. Just surprise. And the hot, wet rush of his own blood. The creature hisses, its multifaceted eyes staring at him with a pure alien hunger. It wrenches its talon free, tearing the hole wider. Kyle collapses. He falls from the trench wall into the mud at the bottom. His lasgun clatters beside him. He is dying. He knows it. He gasps, but his lung is filling with blood. The sound of the battle, the screaming, the chittering, seems to be fading, growing distant. The Hormagaunt that struck him has already moved on, lunging at the next target. It did not stay to confirm the kill. It does not care. He is just meat left to spoil. He lies in the mud, his vision tunneling. The psychic roar of the hive mind is quieter now, a dull throb. He thinks of his hab unit, of a woman there, a single human memory. Then, a new sound, a slithering skittering. Very close. He turns his head, a monumental effort. They are here, the Rippers. Small, maggot-like creatures with ravenous mouths, the carrion eaters of the swarm. They are no taller than his boot. They are the cleanup crew. They have crawled up from the earth or from spores drawn by the scent of his blood. One of them bold crawls onto his chest. It peers at him with beady black eyes. Kyle is still alive. He is still conscious. He can feel the creature's weight. A final human spark. Indignation. His flak jacket has a grenade clipped to the webbing. He tries to move his hand, to reach for it, to take these things with him. His fingers twitch. They brush the metal casing. He doesn't have the strength. His arm is lead. The Ripper opens its mouth, revealing needle-like teeth, and buries its head in the open, steaming wound in his chest. Now he feels the pain, a sharp, white-hot, agonizing tearing. Another Ripper crawls onto his face. He tries to shout, but his lungs are full. He can only make a wet, gurgling sound. They begin to eat. They tear at his flesh, burrowing, consuming. And he is alive. He is conscious. He feels every bite, every rip. His consciousness, his self, Kyle, is trapped in a body that is being actively, methodically disassembled. He is not being killed. He is being eaten. His last fading thought is not of the Emperor, not of his home, but of the sound. The wet, rhythmic chewing sound. His consciousness dissolves into a red mist of agony, his life ending not with a bang, but with a gnaw. But not all are dragged into the swarm by claws. Kyle's death was a simple, brutal act of consumption. There is another form of assimilation, one far more insidious. A spiritual rot that hollows out the soul long before the body is ever touched. This is the path of the cult. We go back in time months before the invasion to the dark, reeking caverns where the cult of the Starborn festered. We follow a new initiate, a Factorum worker named Malachi. He is not here for faith in the Emperor. He is here because he is poor and hungry, and the cult has promised him a true god, a god who sees him. He is brought by hooded figures into a vast central cavern. The air is thick with a strange, musky Xenos scent. There upon a throne of scavenged machinery and fossilized bones sits his new god. The Patriarch. It is a monster, a true and terrible creature of the void, a pure-strain genestealer of ancient lineage swollen with psychic power and grotesque intelligence. It is four-armed, its carapace gleaming purple and blue in the dim fungal light. Its eyes are black pits of alien intellect. Malachi should be terrified. He should be screaming for the ecclesiarchy. Instead, he drops to his knees, tears of joy streaming down his face. The creature's psychic aura is a balm, a narcotic. It doesn't just command, it seduces. Malachi weeping. It's beautiful. The Father, he loves us. The Patriarch unfolds itself from its throne. It moves with a terrifying liquid grace. It stands over Malachi, its shadow engulfing him. It lowers its head. From its fanged maw, a glistening tubular tongue, an ovipositor extends. Malachi looks up his face, a mask of pure ecstatic devotion. He leans in. This is the genestealer's kiss. The Patriarch's tongue pierces Malachi's flesh, a single sharp sting. It is not a wound, it is an injection. A specialized virus, a sliver of Xenos genetic code, is deposited directly into his bloodstream. The effect is instantaneous, and it is total. Malachi's mind rewrites itself. We feel his perception shift. The love he held for the distant golden emperor on Terra, it evaporates, a meaningless childish fantasy. His loyalty to his fellow man, a tribal affectation. All of it is scoured away, replaced by a single burning absolute devotion. A diseased fanatical love for the creature before him. For the Patriarch, for the Star Children. He no longer serves his god. He is part of his god. The genetic infection rewrites his DNA, but it first claims his will. He wants this. He craves assimilation. It is not death, it is ascension. Now we return to the present. The invasion has begun. The sky is fire, the ground is a tide of claws. While Kyle was dying in his trench, Malachi and his hybrid family, his wife now slightly, changed his children born with sickly pale skin, and an extra joint in their fingers are running towards the slaughter. Malachi. His face is alight with religious mania. Do you see my loves? They are here. The great host. The angels have descended to cleanse the unclean. Our family will be the first to be embraced. They run through the streets past the bodies of slaughtered PDF, ignoring the screams of the unbelievers. They reach the central plaza which the cultists from Chapter 3 had liberated. The plaza is now a scene of utter carnage. The bodies of the cultists who welcomed the pure strains are already being piled up by warrior organisms. Malachi stops. Confusion flickers across his ecstatic face. This is not a glorious reunification. This is an abattoir. He sees them, the true saviors he worshipped from afar. Not just the four-armed angels, but the towering carnifexes, the elegant hive tyrants, and the pools. In the center of the plaza where a statue of an imperial saint once stood, a reclamation pool is already forming. Ripper swarms are dragging bodies, cultist, soldier, civilian, it makes no difference to the edge, and casting them in. A thick, steaming, acidic soup bubbles within, breaking down flesh and bone with terrifying speed. A Tyranid warrior. A tall, synaptic creature turns its blank, intelligent eyes upon Malachi and his family. It does not see a follower. It does not see a fellow worshipper. It sees biomass. Ungathered. Malachi stammering, the psychic conditioning warring with the horrifying reality. Wait, Father, we are the faithful. We are your children. The Tyranid warrior emits a psychic screech. It is not a welcome, it is a command. A phalanx of hormagaunts, their claws still dripping with PDF blood, turn towards Malachi's family. They are not predators, they are herders. Malachi's wife screams a true human scream of terror as she finally understands. The hybrid children whimper. Malachi looks from the bubbling fleshy pool to the advancing wall of claws to the uncaring alien god directing them. His mind stretched taut between diseased fanaticism and the undeniable horrifying truth does not just break, it disintegrates. Malachi a final insane shriek as the hormagaunts prod him forward with their talons. He loves us, this is the ascension, he loves us. He is pushed stumbling to the edge of the digestion pool. He sees the half-dissolved face of his own Magus staring up at him from the slurry. His last sensation is not the kiss of a god, but the searing, unbearable burn of digestive acids as he and his entire family are driven alive and screaming into the nutrient soup. They are not the chosen, they were merely the marinated. The farmer, the cultist, they are the chaff. They are the easy harvest. But what of the wheat? What of the Emperor's finest? What of the Adeptus Astartes? They too are on Viridia Prime. A single strike force of the Ultramarines answering a distress call that came moments before the shadow fell now finds itself trapped in hell. We are with Brother Sergeant Marius of the Ultramarines' 3rd Company. He is a giant in ceramite blue, a transhuman demigod of war. The shadow in the warp which broke the minds of governors and drove billions insane, is to him a mere irritation, a psychic pressure. His psycho-indoctrinated mind forged in the fires of Macraga holds firm. He identifies the psychic noise, isolates it, and filters it out. He is a fortress of will. His tactical squad is holding the breach of the Governum Citadel, and before them is a true engine of destruction. A Carnifex. It is a living battering ram, a mountain of armor plate and muscle, its 4 seething talons the size of men. It smashes a bunker flat, sending plasteel shrapnel flying. Brother Sergeant Marius. His voice is a calm, resonant baritone, amplified by his helm's Vox Squad focus fire. Target the ocular clusters for Macrag and the Emperor. Bolter fire erupts. It is not the panicked snap of a laser gun. It is the deliberate, disciplined roar of mass-reactive shells. Each bolt is a miniature rocket, striking the Carnifex and detonating inside its flesh. The beast roars in agony as its eyes are blown to jelly, but it lumbers on, driven by the inescapable will of the Hive mind. It crashes into their line. Marius meets at his chainsword screaming. He is strength against strength. He evades a talon that could shatter a tank and buries his sword in the creature's neck joint. It is a battle of titans, but the Tyranid does not fight fair. It does not believe in duels. From the flanks, a wave of gaunts surges in. Marius's squad brothers are overwhelmed. One is dragged down his blue armor, vanishing under a tide of chittering bodies, his last cry, a vox burst of courage and honor. Another is sprayed by a biovore, his armor dissolving in a spray of horrific acid. Soon only Marius stands. His bolter is empty. His chainsword is shattered, its teeth broken on the Carnifex's hide. He stands amidst the corpses of his brothers and a mountain of dead Xenos. A new figure approaches. Not a mindless beast, but a Tyranid warrior. It is tall, intelligent, its bone saber dripping. It is a synapse creature, a lieutenant of the swarm. It cocks its head, studying the space marine. Brother Sergeant Marius, he activates the power field on his combat knife. A low hum. Come then, Xenos filth, taste the steel of Ultramar. He charges, but the battle is already over. The warrior simply sidesteps his desperate lunge and brings its saber down. The bioweapon, a creature of living crystal, shears through ceramite muscle and bone. Marius's sword arm falls to the ground, severed cleanly at the shoulder. He stumbles, shock, warring with his transhuman physiology. He looks down at the stump, then back at the alien. Before he can even react, a dozen hormagaunts are on him, bearing him to the ground with their sheer weight. He is pinned, helpless. But he is not killed. He is not ripped apart. The gaunts do not begin to feed. They simply hold him. The hive mind has recognized him. This is not fodder. This is not simple biomass. This is an Adeptus Astartes. This is a superior warrior. This is the pinnacle of human genetic engineering. And the hive mind is curious. It wishes to understand. Why is this creature so resilient? Why is its mind so strong? What is this gene seed it carries? A lictor, the same one, perhaps, that slaughtered Grek's squad, uncloaks itself from the shadows. It wraps its feeder tendrils around Marius's helmet, tearing it from his head. He stares up at the alien sky, his jaw set in defiance. The lictor drags him, his one remaining hand clawing uselessly at the rubble. He is not taken to a digestion pool. He is taken to something else, a thing. A living, pulsating mound of flesh, a biological computer covered in probing, delicate tendrils. A Norn Queen's analysis node. The lictor slams him against it. The fleshy mound reacts. It recognizes him. Bioprobes like living needles shoot from its surface and plunge into Marius's body. Marius roars a sound of pure agony. The probes are not crude, they are precise. They pierce the sacred black carapace, the interface beneath his skin that makes him a space marine. They sink into his secondary heart, his osmodula, his Larraman's organ. They are tasting his implants. They are sampling his blood. And one thin as a hair slides with horrific precision into the base of his skull, interfacing with his neural pathways. He can feel it. The hive mind. It is no longer a distant roar. It is an intellect cold and vast as a dead galaxy inside his head. It is not trying to break his mind. It is reading it. It is sifting through his memories of battle, his training on Macraga, his knowledge of Imperial tactics. It is analyzing the holy gene seed of Rabut Gilliman himself, the legacy of a Primarch. It is learning. It is stealing the very essence of what makes him a Space Marine. This violation is worse than any death. He is being catalogued, dissected while alive. His strength, his honor, his genetic legacy is being turned into data. Brother Sergeant Marius, a single agonized, defiant roar, with his last remaining ounce of strength, his one free hand, he reaches for his belt. He does not grab for a weapon. He grabs for the crack grenade he failed to use. His transhuman thumb finds the activation stud. Brother Sergeant Marius, a final vox-amplified whisper. The Emperor protects. He presses it. The lictor hisses, realizing too late. The resulting explosion is a brief, bright flash, obliterating Marius the lictor and the analysis creature in a sphere of white-hot fire. He has chosen annihilation over violation. He has denied the beast its prize. He has died a hero's death. But it is too late. The data stream was fast. The analysis, however brief, was complete. The genetic information, the tactical knowledge, the understanding of the Primarch's gift has already been transmitted. It is already racing through the synaptic web back to the Norn Queen in orbit. His sacrifice was noble, it was brave, and in the end it was useless. The data is now part of the swarm. While Brother Sergeant Marius was engaged in a battle of genetics, a far more critical war was being waged in the realm of the mind. In the shattered remains of the Ecclesiarchal Plaza, the 88th Viridian PDF regiment was broken and routing. But one man held the line. We find Primaris Psycha Varus. He is a sanctioned witch, a necessary tool of the Imperium, his mind a fortress built of faith and brutal training. The shadow in the warp which had shattered the sanity of billions was to him a howling, deafening storm, but one he could withstand. His robes whipped around him as he held his copper wound staff aloft. Psycha Varus chanting, his voice booming with psychic power. By his will, stand courage, men. The Emperor's light is our shield. He was a beacon, a burning, defiant torch of psychic power in the oppressive, crushing darkness. He unleashed a torrent of blue Empyrean fire, a bolt of pure thought that struck a Tyranid warrior on the far side of the plaza. The synapse creature exploded, and the wave of Hormagaunts it was directing suddenly fell into disarray, chittering and confused. Varus was the only thing preventing a total massacre, and in that infinite psychic darkness a great cold eye turned. A beacon does not merely provide light, it attracts attention. The hive mind, which had been an ambient crushing pressure, now focused. Varus felt the shift instantly. It was no longer a storm, it was a spear. A single unified colossal will, the combined focus of a trillion minds, drove directly into his psychic shields. Psycha Varus! He stumbles, dropping to one knee. Blood trickles from his nose. It's in my thoughts. Get out. He was in a duel he could not win. He summoned all his training from the Scholastica Secana. He erected barriers of pure faith, visualized the golden light of the Astronomicon, pictured the Aquila in his mind. He was an ant trying to stop a tidal wave. He felt his mental barriers crack. He began to burn his own neural pathways, sacrificing memories, his childhood on Terra, his first mentor's face, just to buy himself seconds to push the all-consuming will back an inch. But the hive mind does not duel. It is a pragmatist. It does not try to overpower the psyker with sheer force. It sends a specialist. It drifted over the rubble, uncaring of the physical battle raging around it. A zoanthrope. Its body was a grotesque, withered thing, little more than a vestigial tail and spine, its limbs atrophied. All of its biological energy had been devoted to its head. The cranium was massive, a pulsating, exposed, veined brain shimmering with a psychic corona. its empty eye sockets fixed on Varus. Psycho Varus, his eyes widen in true terror. No Emperor's mercy, an abomination. Stay back. Varus in a panic hurled a bolt of warp lightning at the creature. The bolt splashed harmlessly against an invisible kinetic shield, the zoanthrope not even registering the attack. It did not retaliate. It did not hurl its own lightning. It simply opened. It was a living psychic conduit. A tap. It didn't fight Varus's mind. It connected to it. It established a direct, unfiltered siphon from Varus's soul, straight to the infinite hungry void of the Hive mind itself. Varus screamed. It was a sound no human throat should ever make, a shriek that was both physical and psychic. He dropped his staff. Psycho Varus, an agonized, gurgling, soul-tearing wail. He felt it. His power. His connection to the warp. The very essence of his mind, the thing that made him him. It was being sucked out of him. It was not a battle, it was a draining. It was the feeling of a billion psychic leeches attaching to his very spirit all at once, all pulling. His body began to convulse violently. His skin flush with power moments before shriveled. It became dry, papery, clinging to his bones. His eyes, wide with horror, dried out in their sockets. His hair turned bone white, became brittle, and fell out in clumps. He was being desiccated not of water but of soul. But he did not die. That was the true horror. The hive mind was too efficient for that. It held his heart in a telekinetic grip, forcing the muscle to beat, squeezing it like a pump. It forced his lungs to draw shallow, ragged breaths. It kept the biological machine running. He was kept alive, conscious, and in unimaginable agony. For one purpose, to be drained to the absolute last dreg. His memories were consumed. His power was siphoned. His very consciousness, the I that was Varus, was unraveled, dissolved, and converted into raw psychic energy. He was no longer a person. He was a battery being sucked dry by a cosmic parasite. His final fading sensation was not of pain, but of emptiness. An absolute, all-consuming void. Finally, when there was nothing left to take, the telekinetic grip on his heart was released. The body, a mummified, empty husk, toppled into the dust. The zoanthrope, its task complete, drifted silently away, its massive brain pulsing faintly, satisfied. The energy that was Varus was now just fuel for the swarm. The battle, for all its sound and fury, is merely the gathering phase. The true process of assimilation is a silent, industrial, biological horror. We return to the Ripper, the small, maggot-like creature that devoured Guardsman Kale. It is bloated, its skin stretched taut over the slurry of flesh-flak armor and lasgun components it has indiscriminately consumed. Kale as a person is gone. He is now just contents. The Ripper, its hunger-sated, pauses in the blood-soaked mud. Its individual imperative to eat is gone. It has been replaced by a new, irresistible, non-verbal command from the hive mind: return. Deliver. Become one. It turns and it joins a river. It is a literal river of rippers, thousands, millions of them, all bloated with their grisly cargo. They are a chittering, single-minded tide of flesh, crawling over the bodies of the ungathered, all moving in perfect unison toward a single central point. They are no longer creatures. They are delivery drones. Their destination is a reclamation pool. In the week since the invasion began, the Tyranid organisms have created this. What was once the capital's central plaza is now an excavated, miles-wide crater. It is a vast biological cauldron filled to the brim with a steaming, bubbling, viscous, greenish-yellow fluid. The air around it shimmers with heat and corrosive, acidic vapor. The smell is an abomination, a chemical stench of bleach ammonia and the mass rotting of 1 billion organisms. The Rippers reach the edge of this vast, gurgling lake. They do not pause. They do not show fear or hesitation. Their life cycle has one final, glorious, horrifying purpose. The Ripper that consumed Kale the vessel for his physical remains reaches the precipice. and it jumps. It plunges into the acidic soup. There is no splash. The dissolution is instantaneous. The hypercorrosive enzymes, tailored specifically to break down all matter, unmake it. The Ripper's chitinous shell dissolves. The half-digested flesh of Kale within it is blasted apart. The ceramic plates of his flak armor, the plasteel casing of his laser gun, it all breaks down. Bone, flesh, metal, plastic, ceramic, all are rendered into their base chemical components. The creature's sacrifice is total, its purpose fulfilled. It has delivered its payload, and behind it the entire river of Rippers follows. It is a continuous, sickening waterfall of living creatures gleefully committing mass suicide, a torrent of biomass plunging into the vats to feed the greater whole. This is the great equalizer. In this pool, everything becomes the same. We see the remains of the cultist Malachi, his robes and flesh, dissolving alongside the Tyranid warrior that herded him to his death. We see the shattered grenade-blasted fragments of Brother Sergeant Marius's ceramite armor, the holy blue plate of Ultramar slowly sizzling and unmaking its molecular bonds torn apart. The bones of the farmer, the steel of the governor's lectern, the glass of the hab block windows, it all becomes the soup. From the center of this bubbling chemical sea, a new structure has grown. It is a capillary tower, a pulsating fleshy spire, a biological straw of impossible scale, miles high, its peak shrouded in the toxic clouds. It is a living umbilical cord connecting the dying planet to the vast bioships in orbit. With a rhythmic, sickening throb, the tower begins its work. It sucks the nutrient-rich gray-green slurry up its length, a grotesque reverse waterfall defying gravity, carrying the harvested essence of Viridia Prime up into the black. But what of the mind? What of the soul? Kyle is dead. His body is dissolved. But what of his consciousness? For a fraction of a second, as the unique, complex neural structures of his brain are unmade by the acid, his consciousness flares. It is the last dying electrical impulse of his identity. Kale. He is not alone. He is not in an afterlife. He is not in the warp. He is in the soup. His final screaming spark of self is plunged into a psychic ocean of other dying sparks. It is a chorus of absolute, terminal agony. He hears the final insane shriek of Malachi, the realization of his betrayal. He feels the white-hot, defiant rage of Sergeant Marius as his hand closed on the grenade. He tastes the cold, psychic emptiness of Varus as his soul was siphoned dry. He is drowning in the final, terrified memories of the millions of civilians from Hablock Gamma Thula, the farmer, the mother, the PDF trooper, the final, terrified, confused scream of the entire planet's population, all dissolving and dying in this one horrific shared moment. It is a symphony of 1 billion deaths played at once, a cacophony of terror, loss, and pain, and the hive mind does not hear it. It is not malice, it is not torture, it is simply a byproduct. It is the static of digestion, it is the irrelevant noise of fuel being processed. The last echo of Guardsman Kyle, a tiny, insignificant point of light in an ocean of screaming, is extinguished. The acid finishes its work. His thoughts, his memories, his name are gone. He is no longer a person. He is no longer even a memory. He is at last just biomass. The symphony of screams has faded. The psychic static of 1 billion dying minds has gone quiet. The battles are over. The harvest of flesh is complete. Viridia Prime is now silent, its population reduced to a chemical slurry, a rising tide in the orbital vats. But the hive mind is not finished. It is the perfect cosmic recycler, and the life on a planet is only part of its resources. The planet itself is the final course. The great living bioships in orbit, their bellies swollen with the nutrient soup from the capillary towers, now begin their final terrible work. They are no longer just transports, they are processors. From the undersides of these continent-sized behemoths, vast biological structures unfurl. Enormous gaping maws like the bells of grotesque jellyfish descend into the upper atmosphere. They are harvester ships, and they begin to inhale. Down on the surface, what little remains of the day is blotted out. The sky, already choked with the smoke of burning cities and acidic vapor, begins to darken. It is not a storm. It is not an eclipse. The air itself is being drawn upwards. A wind begins. Not a natural breeze, but a constant planetary-scale gale screaming towards the heavens. It rips trees from their thinning soil. It scours buildings clean. It is the sound of a world taking its last ragged breath. The hive mind is siphoning the atmosphere. Nitrogen, oxygen, every precious molecule of gas is being sucked up, filtered, and processed. The sky turns from a toxic grey to a bruised purple, and finally to the cold, airless black of the void. The planet is now in a vacuum, but the feast is not over. Next, the oceans. From orbit, colossal proboscises, living siphons miles wide, are lowered from the fleet. They plunge into the great seas of Viridia Prime, with the force of asteroids sending up tidal waves of superheated water. They are not drinking. They are draining. The oceans begin to boil. The sheer friction and pressure of the siphons heat the water to its vapor point. Geysers of steam visible from space erupt where the tubes meet the water. The planet's seas, which once teemed with life, are sucked dry in a matter of days. The water is drawn into the bioships, its chemical components broken down, its hydrogen harvested for fuel. What was once a blue-green jewel is now a brown, cracked, arid ball of mud. The desiccated corpses of Viridia's sea life leviathans and fish that never saw the swarm are left to rot in the airless, dry basins. And finally the land itself. The swarm, its purpose of killing now finished, receives its last command on this world. It is a simple one. Eat. Eat everything that remains. The billions of termagants, hormagaunts, and rippers, their primary harvest complete, now turn on the planet itself. They begin to consume the forests, devouring every leaf, every branch, every root. They eat the dead grass, the fungal spores, the bacteria in the ground. They are a living carpet of acid-mawed locusts scraping the planet's surface clean. They eat the soil. They shovel the nutrient-rich topsoil into their mouths, their hyper-efficient stomachs extracting the last traces of nitrates, potassium, and biological matter. They are filtering the very earth. When the soil is gone, they eat the dead cities, their acids dissolving plasteel and ferrocrete, seeking any trace minerals. They eat the mountains, cracking open the rock to get at the mineral deposits within. In a matter of weeks, a thriving, vibrant agri-world home to billions of souls, repository of millennia of human history, is gone. It has been erased. We see it from orbit, a single final shot. It is a grey, pock-marked, lifeless rock. It is utterly barren. There is no air, there is no water, there is no life, not even a single bacterium. It has been scoured clean down to the bedrock. It is a sterile, cosmic tombstone. The Hive fleet has finished its meal. The grey, sterile rock that was Viridia Prime recedes into the black. Aboard the Norn Queen, the vast central bioship that serves as the fleet's brain and womb, the true work begins. The processing of information. The nutrient slurry, the dissolved essence of billions, is not just fuel. It is a library, a genetic, chemical, and psychic database to be sifted, analyzed, and learned from. We are deep within the Norn Queen's primary spawning chamber, a cavern of pulsating flesh the size of a continent. The soup containing the last physical traces of Guardsman Kale Psyker Varus and Sergeant Marius flows through vast organic conduits. It is here that the hive mind filters the harvest. It is looking for excellence. It is looking for data. It sifts through the genetic noise of the billions of farmers and citizens, finding little of value and processes them directly into fuel. But then it finds the unique, potent genetic code of the Adeptus Astartes. It finds the warped, powerful psychic engram of the Psyker, and it finds the base, unremarkable, but disciplined neural pathways of the Imperial Guardsman. The hive mind does not think, it assesses. It analyzes the Psyker's essence, threat, potent, must be adapted to, Shields must be strengthened. It analyzes the Space Marines' genes, superior, resilient, must be incorporated. Future warriors will have faster clotting blood, denser muscle. Adapt. Then it filters the chemical residue of Kyle's mind. It finds nothing of genetic value, but it finds something else. A pattern, a memory, a single distinct repeating neural engram burned into his brain by endless brutal training. It is a memory of a specific defensive tactic. The last pistol and bayonet charge, a desperate last-ditch Imperial Guard maneuver. The hive mind does not understand courage, it does not understand despair, but it understands tactics. This specific maneuver it calculates was moderately effective against Hormagaunt flanking patterns. This is useful data. The data is saved, and with it a piece of Kale is saved. It is not him. Kale, the man, the self, the consciousness is gone, extinguished in the acid screams of the reclamation pool. But this single, isolated fragment of his mind, this memory is preserved. It is extracted from the slurry coded and stored within the hive mind's infinite synaptic web. It is a grotesque, horrifying form of immortality. A fragment of his consciousness ripped from its context is now trapped. It is a ghost in the machine. A psychic echo imprisoned forever in the mind of the entity that devoured him. We move to another part of the Norn Queen. A new batch of warriors is being birthed. A Hormagaunt slick with amniotic fluid is decanted from its birthing sac. It is part of a new brood, one destined for the next planet in the fleet's path. As it is born, the hive mind uploads its data, the genetic adaptations from Marius, the psychic resistance learned from Varus, and the tactical knowledge from Kale. The newly birthed Hormagaunt flexes its talons, and for a single inexplicable microsecond, a flicker of an image passes through its nascent alien mind. It is not a thought. It is not a memory. It is an instinct. It sees the face of a man, a human man with a scarred cheek and a sergeant's stripes, screaming, "Hold the line." The Hormagaunt does not know what this is. It is just an echo, a piece of data. But it is Kyle's memory. It is the face of his sergeant. In a way, Kyle still exists. He is no longer the defender of humanity. He is a sliver of programming. He is a piece of alien software trapped in the mind of the monster that ate him. And that piece of him, that echo of his training, will now be used to help the swarm hunt, kill and consume his people more efficiently on the next world, and the next, and the next. This is the final, most profound violation. Your body is fuel. Your genetics are a blueprint. And your experience, your very memories, they are just a software update. The fleet moves on. The sterile rock of Viridia Prime is left behind a silent tomb in the void. But the planet's legacy, its final agonizing contribution to the universe, is carried within the very cells of the swarm. We are in the heart of the Norn Queen. It is not a place, but a living planet-sized womb. It is an engine of pure biological creation. The harvested soupy biomass of Viridia flows through it, but more importantly, so does the data. The genetic and tactical information stolen from the dead is now being analyzed, processed, and implemented. The hive mind is a relentless practical cosmic scientist. It is running 1 billion concurrent experiments, and the blood of Viridia Prime has provided the results. First, it analyzes the data from Guardsman Kyle and the tens of thousands of PDF soldiers. It registers the sheer volume of lasgun fire. It notes the standard issue flak armor's precise failure point. It calculates that the Hormagaunt's primary carapace had a 34% failure rate when struck by focused, high-energy light bursts. This is deemed inefficient. In a vast birthing sea, a new brood of Hormagaunts is gestated. We see them slide from their sacs, wet and new. But they are different. Their carapace is not the same bone white. It is slightly darker, infused with stolen silicates. The angle of the plating on their chest and head is sharper, more acute. It is a subtle change, an alteration of a few degrees. But the hive mind has calculated it. This new angle is designed not to stop a lost bolt, but to deflect it, to scatter the beam. Survivability against standard Imperial weaponry has just increased by an estimated 3.8%. A tiny fractional improvement that, when multiplied by 1 billion bodies, is a strategic war-winning adaptation. Next, the Norn Queen processes the psychic echo of Varus. His power was a significant threat, a hot point in the psychic void that had successfully severed synapse connections. The hive mind analyzes the frequency of his power, the unique signature of his human warp-based energy. This is deemed a vulnerability. A new zoanthrope variant is spawned. Its withered body is even smaller, its pulsating brain sac even larger. But now its psychic shielding is tuned. It is no longer just a general-purpose kinetic field. It is a specific layered psychic baffle, calibrated precisely to dampen and neutralize the specific Empyrean frequencies used by Imperial-sanctioned psychers. Varus's soulfire, his ultimate weapon, has just been used as a blueprint to create a better shield against all those who would follow him. Finally, the most valuable prize, the gene seed of Brother Sergeant Marius. The Norn Queen's bioforgers analyze this code. It is alien. It is complex. It is a work of genius the hive mind cannot replicate. It cannot create a space marine, but it can plagiarize. It breaks the code down, isolating its most useful components. It ignores the faith. It ignores the honor. It focuses on the biology. It finds the rapid, triggered response of the Laraman's organ, the organ that causes a space marine's blood to clot almost instantly. It finds the hyperdense, efficient muscle fibers created by the os modula. This is deemed superior. A new breed of Tyranid warrior is birthed. It is visibly larger, its muscles coiling like steel cables beneath its thicker armor. It is faster. It is stronger. But the true test comes when a bio-drone is ordered to strike it. The drone's talons rake the warrior's side, and the wound which would have gushed ichor instead seals itself in a spray of rapidly congealing blood. The sacrifices of Viridia Prime are complete. Kyle's defiance, Varus's psychic strength, Marius's genetic perfection, none of it was in vain. It was all invaluable. The hive fleet that moves toward the next unsuspecting world is not the same one that arrived at Viridia. It is stronger, it is faster, it is more resilient, it is smarter. The desperate, heroic last stand of an entire planet did not just fail to stop the Tyranid, it made it better. We have witnessed the death of the body, the consumption of the flesh. We have seen the death of the mind, the theft of memory and gene. But in this galaxy of gods and demons, there is a final, more profound question. In a universe where the soul is a quantifiable, tangible thing, a flicker of fire in the immaterium, a prize for which empires and gods go to war, what happens to the soul when the Tyranid consumes you? To understand this, you must first understand the shadow in the warp. It is more than a psychic scream that shatters minds. It is a physical phenomenon. It is the colossal, crushing psychic weight of the hive mind's reality, so dense and so alien that it presses down on the alternate dimension known as the warp. The warp is an ocean of raw emotion, of thought, of spirit. It is where the souls of men and Eldari and Orc are born, and where they return. It is the realm of the gods of chaos. It is the sea upon which the Emperor's Astronomicon shines its light. The shadow in the warp is a dead zone in that ocean. It is a psychic reef of such impossible scale that it stills the tides. It blocks the Astronomicon's light. It deafens the whispers of the chaos gods. It creates a pocket of nothing, a spiritual vacuum. Now consider the fate of a soul in this galaxy. When a cultist of chaos dies, his soul is a screaming comet ripped from his body and plunged into the warp claimed by the god he worshipped. His agony is eternal. His consciousness is preserved as a plaything for demons. This is the horror of damnation. When a devout follower of the God Emperor dies, his faith is a shield. His soul is released into the immaterium, and it is said that his spark seeks to join the great golden conflagration of the Emperor's light on Terra. His consciousness may be lost, but his essence returns to its source. This is the hope of salvation. But what happens when you die on Viridia Prime beneath the shadow? When the Ripper tore the life from Guardsman Kyle, his soul, that tiny flicker of human essence, tried to flee. It tried, as all souls do, to escape the mortal shell and return to the Imperium. But it could not. The shadow in the warp was a wall, a cage, a suffocating soundproof blanket thrown over his very being. The soul of Kyle, his anima, could not escape to the warp. It could not seek the light of the Emperor. It could not be claimed by the dark gods. It was trapped. The hive mind has no use for a soul. It cannot eat it. It cannot process it. It is not biomass. It is not data. It is an irrelevant alien form of energy. And so the hive mind does not do anything to it. It simply is, and its presence is enough to kill. Kyle's soul, trapped between the cooling meat of his body and the impenetrable psychic wall of the shadow, was like a candle flame plunged into a vacuum. It was not consumed. It was not tortured. It was not damned. It was extinguished. It was snuffed out. It ceased to be. It was deleted from the very fabric of existence in both the material and the immaterial. This is the final, most terrifying truth of the Tyranid assimilation. This is the unique horror they bring to a psychic universe. The Orc may kill your body, but you will be reborn to fight again. The Aeldari may outwit you. The forces of chaos will take your soul and make it suffer for eternity, but you will in some grotesque form continue. The Tyranid offers only the end. It is not damnation, it is not salvation, it is oblivion. There is no afterlife in the belly of the beast. There is no glorious return to the Emperor. There is no agonizing eternity in the realm of chaos. There is only nothing. A complete and total erasure from all realities, physical and metaphysical. You are not just killed. You are unmade. You are rendered a zero. You have, in the most absolute sense of the word, never been. In the grand, terrible equation of the 41st millennium, the Imperium of man has always known its true spiritual foe, the arch-enemy. The great game is played between the light of the Emperor and the darkness of the Chaos Gods. It is a war for the soul of the galaxy. The ruinous powers thrive on the byproducts of life. They are psychic parasites feeding on the very emotions that define mortals. Khorne, the blood god, drinks the rage of the battlefield. Tzeentch, the architect of fate, sips from the well of hope and ambition. Nurgle, the grandfather, finds his power in the mortal's despair and fear of death. And Slaanesh, the prince of pleasure, is born from the fire of excess of sensation of a species' decadent pride. They need us. They need our passion, our fury, our hope, our pain. Our souls are their currency, their food, their very existence. And this is why the Tyranid is the ultimate unforeseen horror. It is not just an enemy of the Imperium. It is the enemy of chaos. When the shadow in the warp falls, the Chaos Gods are blinded. Their connection to their worshippers is severed. The demons who swim in the warp find their seed turned to cold, silent stone. But the threat is far more fundamental. As we have seen, when the Tyranid consumes a world, the souls of the dead are not claimed by the warp. They are not harvested by demons. They are not sent screaming to the thrones of the gods. They are extinguished, a billion souls snuffed out in the psychic vacuum. A billion course meals stolen from the tables of the gods. The Tyranid is not just killing humanity, it is starving the great enemy. It is a competitor, a rival, a parasite of impossible scale that has come to feed on the same herd, and it does so by deleting the very resource chaos needs to survive. But the threat is deeper still. The very nature of chaos is corruption. It finds the flaw, the crack, the desire in a mortal heart, and it pulls. It twists loyalty into betrayal, ambition into madness, pleasure into damnation. But how do you corrupt the Tyranid? How do you offer Tzeentchian power to a Hormagaunt? The creature has no ambition. It has no self. It is a finger on a hand 1 trillion miles wide. It cannot be bribed. It cannot be tricked. Its will is the hive mind's, and the hive mind has only one unchanging plan: to eat. How do you inflict the exquisite agony and pleasure of Slaanesh upon a Tyranid warrior? It feels no pleasure. It registers pain only as tactical data, a stimulus to be analyzed, adapted to, and overcome. It cannot be tortured for sensation. It cannot be seduced by excess. It is a creature of pure ascetic purpose. How do you infect a creature with Nurgle's despair? How do you offer the gift of decay to a being that welcomes its own dissolution? The ripper that gleefully plunges into the digestion pool feels no terror. It has no hope to lose. It has no fear of death. It is a perfect, mindless, incorruptible cog. And Khorne, the blood god who roars for skulls. The Tyranid is the ultimate cosmic insult to him. It is a storm of slaughter, a galaxy-wide act of violence, a sea of spilled blood, and not one single drop of its rage feeds him. Because there is no rage. It is not war. It is not hatred. It is not fury. It is harvesting. It is the cold, emotionless, biological function of a farmer scything wheat. The skulls are not taken for a throne. They are dissolved for their calcium. This reveals the true, terrifying war for the galaxy. It is not a three-way conflict. It is a war between two fundamental cosmic principles. Chaos is the ultimate screaming disorder. It is the storm of all things, unbound emotion, infinite entropy, pure howling, senseless madness. The hive mind is its perfect, horrifying antithesis. It is the ultimate silent order, a single unified monolithic will, a single cold, pragmatic purpose. It is the universe reduced to one repetitive, inescapable thought: consume, adapt, expand. They are the two poles of existence irreconcilable, the storm versus the void. And the Tyranid is winning not by fighting the gods, but by eating their fuel. It is the ultimate predator, and it has come to devour the very ecosystem that allows the storm to rage. We return for one last time to the object that was once Viridia Prime. It floats in the void, a grey, scarred, ugly piece of rock. It is a cosmic tombstone, identical to the billions of other dead worlds that litter the galaxy. But this one is new. Its death is fresh. There is no sound. There can be no sound. There is no air to carry it. The winds that once whispered through the agri-fields are gone, siphoned into the bellies of the bioships. The oceans that once roared against the cliffs are gone, their water cracked and harvested. And the silence is absolute. It is not just the absence of voices, it is the absence of life. There is not a single microbe in the sterile dust, not one bacterium, not one blade of grass. The planet has been sterilized on a molecular level, scoured clean to the bedrock. It is a monument to perfect, efficient consumption. In the void above this dead world, the Hive fleet gathers. It is a living constellation of a trillion creatures. It has lingered, processing, gestating, growing. It is visibly larger than when it arrived. The biomass of 1 billion souls has been converted into new ships, new warriors, new weapons. The fleet is swollen, replenished, stronger. The great silent collective mind of the swarm turns its attention away from the barren rock. The meal is over. The plate is clean. The dead world is now just debris. It is irrelevant. The hive mind's attention, a single unified galaxy spanning, will turns outward. It probes the darkness. It is not looking for enemies. It is not looking for territory. It is looking for light. It is looking for the telltale biosignatures of life. It is looking for the warmth of a star system that has cultivated worlds teeming with biomass. And it finds one. Far in the distance, a bright yellowish-white speck. Not a single star, but a rich, dense cluster. A subsector ripe with populated planets. A new feeding ground. With a slow, ponderous, and utterly inevitable motion, the entire Hive fleet, a living continent of 1 billion predators, begins to move. It accelerates into the void, a shadow falling once more across the stars, leaving its empty plate behind. For the Imperium of man, this was the tragedy of Viridia Prime. It was a story of heroism, of sacrifice, of terror, of madness. It was the story of Kael, of Marius, of Varus. It was the story of 9 billion individual agonizing deaths. It was a scar that would be mourned, a strategic loss that would be analyzed. For the Hive fleet, it was none of these things. For the endless patient and all-consuming consciousness of the Hive mind, Viridia Prime was not a victory. It was not a tragedy. It was not a battle. It was just a meal, a brief stop on an infinite journey, a single bite taken to sate a hunger that will never ever end. So this is the truth. This is the echo of the consumed. To be assimilated by the Tyranid is not a single clean event. It is not a soldier's honorable death on a battlefield. It is a process. It is a series of deaths, a methodical industrial unmaking of a person, layer by layer until nothing is left. First, there is the psychological death, the shadow in the warp, the great silent crushing weight that finds you long before the claws do. It is the death of your sanity, the death of your hope. It is the madness of Governor Hesk smashing his own mind to pieces against a lectern. It is the collective nightmare of an entire Hab block sharing the same dream of teeth and falling. It is the paralyzing terror that freezes the soldier in his trench. It breaks your mind, leaving only a shivering, terrified animal for the slaughter. Then there is the physical death. This is the death you thought you feared, but it is a horror beyond your imagining. It is not the quick release of a bullet. It is the death of Guardsman Kale alive and conscious, feeling the chewing as the Rippers began their feast. It is the death of Malachi, the deluded cultist, his faith disintegrating in the instant he realized his god's embrace was a vat of digestive acid. It is the end of the body, ripped apart, shredded, swallowed, and dissolved. But it does not end there. Next is the genetic death, the violation of your very legacy. This is the death of Sergeant Marius, your strength, your resilience, your transhuman perfection, the holy gene seed of a Primarch. It is not honored, it is not respected. It is catalogued, it is stolen. Your species' greatest strengths are analyzed, plagiarized, and turned into a weapon. The very adaptations that made you a superior warrior are gifted to the enemy, ensuring that your brothers on the next world will face an even deadlier, more resilient foe. Your sacrifice did not save anyone. It only made the beast stronger. And finally, there is the most profound, most absolute death, the metaphysical death. In a galaxy defined by the soul, where gods and demons fight for the prize of your spirit, the Tyranid makes your soul nothing. Your spiritual essence, that spark of you trapped by the impenetrable wall of the shadow, is unable to flee to the warp, unable to find the Emperor's light. It is not captured. It is not tortured. It is not damned. It is extinguished. It is snuffed out like a candle flame in a hard vacuum. It is the ultimate cold, terrifying void experienced by Varus. It is total cosmic and eternal oblivion. You are erased from all realities. This is the ultimate grimdark truth of the Tyranid. There is no glory in this fight. There is no martyrdom in this consumption. There is no honor. When chaos kills you, you die a slave, but you die in a grand, terrible story of gods and damnation. When the Orc kills you, you die in a fight. When the Imperium executes you, you die for a cause, however misguided. But when the Tyranid kills you, you do not die at all. You are simply recategorized. You are a line item on a resource ledger. You are processed efficiently and without malice from sentient being into raw material. You are not a casualty of war. You are fuel. We pull back. We see the map of the galaxy. The soul-centered golden-lit map of the Imperium of man. 1,000,000 worlds burning like tiny, defiant pinpricks of light in the vast, hostile dark. We see Terra. We see Macraga. We see Armageddon. We see 1,000,000 bastions of humanity, each one a story, each one a culture, each one a desperate prayer. And from the outside, from the cold, silent, intergalactic void, the shadows are moving. We see the tendril that was the fleet that consumed Viridia Prime. It is a tiny, insignificant line. And then we see the others. Leviathan, Behemoth, Kraken, Jormungandr, Tiamat. Not one fleet, but dozens. Not one tendril, but 1,000. Not an invasion, but a migration. A vast cosmic organism, its feelers now wrapped around our entire galaxy. Its hungry collective mind now fully terribly aware that this galaxy is full of life, full of food. The endless ocean of hunger has arrived. The final question is not if the Imperium will fall. It is not if our light will be consumed. The only question is when.